So this was the trade that I took on Thursday. So Thursday was a really, I think you can say, a hectic day for the market. We had President Trump speaking in the morning, of course, on the Iran war, and we also had unemployment claims late into the evening. So I did wait a while for the news to settle before I did get on the markets and look for an opportunity to really go in there and put position in. But this is really what I got yesterday, and I think I made the most of it. And as you can see, I pretty much predicted market movement quite well, but I am going to get into that. So, you know, really, yesterday might not have been the best day to trade, but I did see, a sign of the market recovering. So that's what gave me the confidence to actually get in. Okay, so first of all, we have to start off with the daily bias, of course, and the daily bias was literally just 100% the news. We had, you know, President Trump speaking in the morning, and that sent the market all the way down the stairs. Absolutely okay. So, you know, if you guys watched the speech, he basically said that he was not going to to yield, and he was literally going to go in on the war in the Middle East, and that just, sent the market off the rails. Obviously was really, really bad for the euro because the European economies will continue to hurt, and the US dollar will benefit from this since they will become one main exporter of oil in the world, whereas, the European Union is having trouble with energy. So that's why, we see this big drop of confidence in the euro. That's why we saw it yesterday, and that's what, created this big ass imbalance that you see on the graph here. So basically, present at every time scale. You don't need to scale up, scale down, it's still there. You know, 4 hour bearish bias, obviously you see that. 2 hour bearish bear all the way to the 5 minute. And I do have this rule of mine that I do not go against the general bias of the market in that particular day, but this time around, I see the market and it is really, really making a good case otherwise. So I took this day as an opportunity to actually test this rule of mine and to see if it actually will hold up. Because, on normal days, on normal market movement with no news, on and those are mostly the days that I trade on, days with no news, the market bias is completely influenced by the natural movement of the market. But yesterday, it really was just wholly influenced by news. And, you know, that that seemed to my brain was saying that, this is a fake artificial bias of the day. And, when we see an imbalance like this, we can see examples everywhere that, you know, it market always comes up and fills these massive imbalances that were caused by news, Market always does a retracement and fills those imbalances. So with 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 an imbalance like this, with an FVG like this, I almost entirely believed that, market was going to do a retracement and fill it, So I kind of this is a this is testing my rules, so I'm not gonna give a lot of weight to this trade because I am testing my strategy. But yeah, so as we can see, I'm gonna walk through my thinking process. So I'll label out this FVG and you know and I don't solely enter because I think an FVG is going to be respected. I do have to see confluences to give me the confidence that the market is going to move to the upside, and I did see that in terms of I enter off of liquidity sweeps, and as market pushed downwards yesterday, it did take out a key level, which I will mark out here. The key level being um, this level, obviously, and you do see that that level was brilliantly taken out by this dip here, and we see an immediate and strong rejection up to the upside, and we can scale up to higher time frames if that makes it easier to see. 30-minute maybe, yeah, that makes it way easier to see. And so all I was waiting to do now is I was waiting to get in off of a break of structure, which did happen, but it happened on a 3-minute, which which I was not aware of. I was kindly I was kind of fiddling with my MetaTrader, so I wasn't fully locked in on the highs, because if we see here, it's just a bunch of fake outs. So that's what I did wrong. But there's no actual break here. Well, there was a break here. What am I talking about? There was a break here, and that gave me the chance to go off of the liquidity sweep, yeah. But this is also an FVG, as we see here. It's an imbalance, and because I missed the initial entry off of the break of structure, and I didn't want to set my stop loss to the key level all the way down here, which would have made my trade basically a zero point 0.5 RR. I waited to get in off of a retracement entry, and I looked for it in terms of this imbalance fulfillment that we see here by these two two down movements. But I should have waited for a sign of a rejection in the form of a structure break. But we do see that I believe it happens down here on the 3-minute. Yeah, we do see that it breaks on the 3-minute. So I believe I'm good there. So that was my sign to enter. Entered, I could have placed my my target all the way up here. I could have done that. It would nearly have tripled my profit, but I didn't do it because, greed gets you killed. So I said, my past trades, I've had success before with 1-to-1 RR, so I did try and target a 1-to-1 to maximize my possibilities a bit. So what I did was I looked for key levels to take my TP, and it came in the form of a FEG here. This was this entire thing. This entire leg down was an FEG. So, and my 1-to-1 was bang in the center of that FVG. So I said, yeah, if this if this imbalance is going to get filled, this one's definitely going to get filled. So I said, yeah, why not? Bang in the middle of that FVG. And guess what? Took like 10 minutes. Market behaved exactly as I expected, took out all the imbalances, and then proceeded to continue its leg down. And it's been consolidating all the way from here to here, which was literally 24 hours, and consolidated all the way to NFP, I believe, today, which just literally just happened, NFP, and really was a a really shit day to trade today. So I'm glad I didn't trade today, but all it was consolidation. But we're talking about yesterday, so market behaved exactly as I expected. I do believe market will continue its run down as the euro weakens in respect to the dollar, but we will, everything remains to be seen. But what's important is we made some money, yeah. We predicted how the market moved, ticked all the boxes, RR was on point, trade risk amount was on point, trade analysis was on point. And I'm glad I used, some intuition in this trade. I didn't let some a strategy rule prohibit me from testing new things out because at the end of the day, I still am learning. So everything is valuable. But yeah, this this rule of mine still needs to be tested rigorously before I make a final decision on whether, not whether, make a final decision on how I actually format the rule. But yeah, so today's a Friday, market's closing today, so I'll probably, be back on the charts next week, soon as market opens on Monday, and yeah, that's it for the trade that I took yesterday. Cool trade, beautiful trade. But yeah, that was me. Happy trading.